Is it live as soon as you plug it in?
You are on right now.
Right.
Say
Hello, welcome.
Hey guys, it's Monday. We did this. Well, we didn't try to do it. We did it last week.
Wednesday we did it?
Yeah, and we're going to try to do Mondays. And this time, ahead of time,
Oh yeah, we got to share it.
we're sharing for all you guys.
All right, let's see. There I am.
So here we go. Share.
Uh,
Frank Cavitt, Austin, Texas. Homes live.
I guess I'm just going to say join us live. Let's see.
There you go. So
Supposedly it's shared. We'll see.
anyway, I'm Frank Cavitt,
Jason Crouch.
and we are Austin, Texas Homes, LLC.
Mm-hmm.
We've been business partners for over 20
40
years.
years. Oh.
40 years. Over 20 years. And we're very fortunate. We have quite a number of agents that work with us, AustinTexasHomes.com. And they're all over town, all over the area, and really, really quality folks. And we're very blessed to have all them.
I think we have about 20,
here
about
at the
20
agents.
agents right now.
So
right around 20.
wanted to be sure and mention that. And
We handle every area of town. So
I'll let Jason talk a little bit.
I have nothing to say. I was just going to say we handle every area of town. So we have this map back here. You can kind of see it cut off on the video, but we handle every part of Austin. So anywhere north, south, east, west, doesn't matter, central, we handle all of it. We've been doing it, 24 years for me, and I think 22 years for you.
Yeah.
So
I started when I was 10.
we're starting to learn how to do this. I think we're figuring out finally how to do this. It's happening.
Yes.
No, we've been doing it a long time, so we'd love to help. But we want to talk about rates. We're going to talk about rates for a minute.
Yeah, first off, interruption. My honey, my sweetheart, Melinda's birthday today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Melinda. Happy birthday to you.
That's fast.
She's going to be happy that I did that. Right?
So it was a really fast one.
Yeah. She works a night shift, so she's home asleep, so she won't see that until tonight. There's not a whole lot to talk about in Austin real estate right now, except that it's crazy. I did call a good friend of ours that does mortgages, and just to check in, and you may or may not know the rates are still basically 15-year mortgage 2%, 30-year mortgage 2.5%. Refis about the same thing. I did ask. We were talking. If you hadn't refied yet, because the values have gone up so much, if you didn't put 20% down, pretty soon you might actually, because, like I said, everything's going crazy, on a reappraisal, you might actually get your 20%, and if you had to do PMI, you might be able to get rid of it. So that's something to consider.
So you're saying if you put 20% in, you can recoup it on a refi, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying if you put less than 20% when you originally did the mortgage,
Right. Then
and you're paying PMI,
you get to the 20%.
you might be able to wipe it out.
Got it.
Because of the increased value
You
of
get
the
20%
house.
equity very quickly.
And which I bought a house a year ago, and I didn't put 20% down, but I'm thinking if these rates will hold the next 6 months, I might be able to wipe out the PMI, which is a small portion of your payment. However, it's the part that's not deductible.
But it's the part that doesn't benefit you
Right.
either. It doesn't give you a benefit.
So that's just a little aside. I wanted to check on the rates. If you need any, if you're looking for somebody, we have a number of people that we've worked with for years that are really good. And so we would love to refer you to somebody. So.
Well, we were looking at inventory earlier, and just to give you a sense of where the inventory is, what's the highest, let me ask you this, what's the highest level of inventory you can remember seeing in Austin, like during our
13,000
13,000
homes on the market?
Right, and now it's in Austin proper, at least single family homes, 334 in the whole town. 334. That's a town of over 1 million people, around 1 million people in Travis County, right?
Right.
It's a little over, I think, but I think the metro area is about 2 million, but for the whole MLS, all Central Texas, how many counties is that? 7, 8, 9 counties. that are covered.
Right, that are in our MLS approximately.
Sounds about right. 835 homes.
In the whole, that's from
Every-
Bastrop to
Every
Marble
price range.
Falls to Fredericksburg to San Marcos,
Every
New
price range.
Braunfels.
That's the stuff falling down. That's the $7 million mansion. All of it.
Right,
That's it.
right.
800. Well, yeah, 800 homes.
And we'll reiterate the new home market. I did have, since we did the last one, I had an opportunity. I ran into a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in quite some time, and he said, well, I've been looking for 6 months, and I'm so frustrated I'm about to just give up. And I said, well, what are you looking for? So he gave me a kind of a little synopsis. And of course, now the big thing is trying to get close enough to work. If you work in North Austin, you're going to have to go maybe to Georgetown, maybe to Bastrop, maybe to Taylor, maybe to Elgin. So anyway, we had a discussion. He was working. He had been working with a realtor. I wasn't trying. I didn't know. We just had a discussion. I came back to the office. Was lucky enough to call an old friend of ours. It's an on-site out at a community in Bastrop, and
Drop his name. Drop his name.
Mr. Robert Patterson. We
Robert
love you, Robert.
Robert Patterson.
So anyway, when I looked at, I got the pred, the brochure doesn't have the listings in it anymore. Got online, they had 8 homes that were supposedly available as of Thursday. This was Friday.
Right.
By Friday, when I called him, they had sold 6 of them.
Right.
And he had, for Saturday and Sunday, he had 7, 8, or 8 appointments lined up for those next 2. Well, he was so kind, he was going to let me have one of the appointments very early in the morning. As it turns out, when I called the friend of mine back and told him about it, he said, well, it was what he asked for, but he said, yeah, it's a little far out. So that's our job. That's what happens to real estate agents. Sometimes people tell us things and what they want, and then when you start finding it, that's when you start finding out what you really want. But my whole point
So he
is,
sold all of them like in a couple of days. Right?
yeah. My whole point is we do have all those connections and all
Bastrop.
these years in business where we might have an inside track on something
It's true.
that you wouldn't get otherwise. And like I said, not trying to take anybody else's business, but he's so frustrated that he was ready to quit.
Well, he didn't make it clear either. But it's
So
one way or the other.
that's a little personal story that happened since the last broadcast we had. So I'm going to be calling on all our home builder on-site friends.
I wanted to talk about just pricing strategy, like when it comes to listing a house right now, what that looks like, and how you price a home now versus 6 months ago. Because 6 months ago, the standard to do a market analysis, the standard was to, pull 3 months or so of comps, right, for the neighborhood if you
Right.
can, or for the area if you go a little farther out, make it concentric circles, if you go farther to get comps. About 3 months, and now I'd say you're limited to about a month, month and a half. Anything older than a month and a half is useless, in my opinion. If it's something from, say for the sake of argument, November, October, that is not going to give you an indicator of what the market's doing. So I would say if you're starting to price a home now, you're going to look at 30 to 45 days at the most. And 45 is even kind of pushing it, but 30 days if you can, 45 if you have to. Anything older than that is a different market from now. And so you have to use those comps, and then from a buyer perspective, you have to figure out how much to offer over. And so in that case, you're looking at like, what do they use for the comps? You have to dig into that and figure out what's reasonable to go over. Are they using new comps or old comps? If they're using comps that are 90 days old, you can probably safely assume it's going to be 20, 30, what was the one we saw over the weekend, 40% over?
Yeah, and Jason he's mentioned several that he's worked on. Now we're seeing, of course, most everybody's waiving the appraisal, so
That's right, exactly. So
it doesn't matter. You're going to get your number, but that's not going to hit until probably another. It needs to get some time in.
A couple more months.
A couple more months, but a couple more months, all these neighborhoods are going to have huge comps.
Yep.
And so then even you'll be able to get them financed, even if you hadn't have it appraised. So
we did have an appraisal come in short. We had done a partial waiver on this deal. I won't get into details, but we're trying to work that out. Also from a listing agent perspective, if you have a home to sell, what I would tell you, whether it's us helping you or someone else helping you, is try to be careful not to accept necessarily the highest offer unless they are guaranteeing the value. And by guaranteeing the value, I mean they're not asking for the the appraisal to matter. They're waiving the appraisal. So if you have a house that's, for the sake, let's just pick one. If you have a house that's priced at 400 and someone offers you 475, make sure the appraisal waiver is in there, and a full appraisal waiver preferably, because that means that if it appraises under 475, you still get 475 as a seller. That's what you want. You don't want someone who just comes to give you the highest number and then it appraises at 450 and you're forced to come down or renegotiate at that
Right,
time.
and some folks are doing kind of a partial appraisal waiver.
That's, yeah. the
Yeah,
partial
where
waiver.
like they'll do 460,
Yeah.
but you want a full appraisal waiver in this market.
Right.
And you should be able to get it. You know, if you got a house that doesn't sell in the first week, it's priced right, it's a good house, then maybe we need to look at, you know, why it didn't.
Well, from the flip side, if you're a buyer, you know, with our buyers, I mean, like I said, I have one right now that's a partial waiver we did. We guaranteed it up to like 25 grand difference, and so it's being renegotiated. We'll see what happens. But from a seller perspective, if you have a listing or a listing agent perspective, get the full waiver if you can at all. If you don't have a full waiver out there, then just take the best offer, I guess. But most days or most times now, if the house is in a halfway reasonable price range, even the high end stuff that was selling like gangbusters.
Yes.
What were the numbers on that one I sent you? It was 575. It was
It sold for 760.
760 was the highest offer.
Right. It was priced at 575.
So $185,000
Right.
additional money on top of and the 560 was probably pushing it. But that what do you say to that? What do you say to someone? And I don't say this to be discouraging. We don't want anyone to feel discouraged like you cannot find a house, but be prepared. Be prepared. And
Right.
the other thing I've been doing for buyers is shopping well within their range, so they have that room to go up. Like if someone can go to 550, we're shopping up to about maybe 475 or 500 at the most. Because if you go to 550, you're going to be competing with people who are going to pay 650,
Right.
625,
Right.
whatever.
So
So shop well within your budget.
Yeah, this friend of mine, he said, well, I realize, okay, whatever I can afford, I gotta subtract 75 off of that so that I have room to bid it up.
Yeah, at least 50.
You know, the good news is, like I said, and we mean to keep talking about the same thing over and over again. That's what's going on in Austin. But one of the things we're going to concentrate on is going out and staying right on top of the new home market. In the new home market right this minute, there's not a lot of quick deliver homes.
So,
But there are a certain amount that are in process.
right.
And so we hope to go out and interview some of the on-sites and stay on top of that. Because at that point where they actually do price it, if you're willing to sign up, then you can lock in the price.
Right.
And then you don't have to worry about 3 months from now when the home's complete that you're going to have a higher price. So it is a chance to actually, like in the old days, gain some equity.
And some builders are doing that. Some builders will allow you to go in and for lack of a better term, tie one up, and you know what the price is going to be. Others are doing like a lottery system, kind of, where they have, like you pick a floor plan that you want, and you go on a list of other buyers, and maybe you're third in line. They're doing the builder's going to pick all the colors, pick everything. They're going to come back to you when it's your turn and say, here it is, here's the price. They're going to tell you the price until it's time to sign up.
No choices.
No choices. You're not.
This is a house.
You're not. You may or may not be able to pick the lot, but maybe you pick the lot, maybe you don't. But either way, you're not picking all the decor items that normally you would do. Picking tile floors or wood floors or the counter colors or the cabinet
Right.
colors or any of that stuff. It's just here's the house. Do you want it? Here's the price.
But it goes without saying, by the same token, if any of you guys out there happen to have a big piece of land that
Please.
you'd like to cut up
Please.
and put houses on, we know developers, we know builders. You probably do if you own the land, but that kind of goes without saying. Everybody is really, really looking for the next
we
spot.
have probably four, five, six developer type, investor developer types right now looking
Yeah.
for anything over, what do you think, 40, 50 acres?
Yeah.
I would say even 20, depending on where it is. If it's on a major road, I would say 10 or less even could work. 5 could
In
work.
town, if it's out of town,
If it's out of town, I'd say 40 or 50 acres.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably minimum.
Yeah.
But so that's
Well,
kind
up
of
to hundreds,
Yeah.
hundreds of acres. We have people of every ilk, every price range, and they're looking. And that stuff's going like crazy too. I had one that was a commercial piece of land out near me that it went on the market. It was, well, Elon Musk bought a building over there, and then they for his boring company. That's what it's called, the tunneling company, boring company. He bought a building over there in Pflugerville, and there was a lot up the street that was an acre or 2 acres. And by the time which I saw it the first couple of days, it was already under contract. So that stuff's going quickly too. The land, everything. So it's a land rush. It's a land rush and a housing rush.
And the other thing, like I said, this is pretty much what we got. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna hope to go on site and do some more, some more interesting things, go some different places. But the other question that this friend of mine said, the first thing they asked is, how long do you think this is going to last? We may have touched upon this last time.
I don't think it hurts to say it
The
again.
interesting thing is, all this expansion and that's happening, those folks aren't here yet. The expansions, the buildings and all that are happening, but the people aren't here yet. So when the people actually start moving here,
Right.
who knows?
We have two things. You have that. You have the expansion. You have Tesla, Oracle, Amazon's new building. You have
Google, Apple,
Apple's new campus. That's
Samsung.
those jobs. Some of those jobs have started, but most of them have not. So most of those people are not here yet. I heard the first one the other day, someone from Oracle coming. So it's just on the very front edge of a wave of people coming for that. And the second thing is people are not traveling as much and as comfortable traveling because of COVID.
So here they come.
So they're going to be coming in the spring and
So
summer. So it's
we're
going to
gonna
be even busier.
we're gonna do our best to stay on top of any possibilities in every price range.
Yeah, every part of town.
That's why, like I said, a good thing to give us a holler. And even like I said, even if you've got somebody else you're working with, if you just want some friendly advice, no pushing, trying to take anybody's business. We just know what we're doing. We've been doing this a long time.
Absolutely.
So
That's good for today.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. Like I said, you can find us at AustinTexasHomes.com. We're obviously you're watching us on Facebook
Or
and,
YouTube later, maybe.
Yeah, YouTube later. So we appreciate everybody and hope you have a great day.
Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. I'm going to sit here awkwardly while I turn off the camera.
That's the awkward part.
That's quite all right.